Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network, a division of the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network. The following program broadcast is an original creation by the broadcast entity. Discussion within the following broadcast should be used for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice or consultation. Before considering application of any broadcast content in the following program, please consult your healthcare provider. If you feel you are having a medical emergency, please contact your local health services for immediate assistance. MS&Me Media and the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network do not guarantee or warrant the accuracy of information in the broadcast to follow. The Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network provisions broadcast services to program hosts. Information discussed in the broadcast does not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or goals of the network and are solely those of the show broadcast host. Should you wish to host a broadcast, please visit our website at msmemedia.com and submit a request to become a program host. We thank you for listening to the MS&Me Radio Network. Enjoy the show.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of MS Gamers Hut, and I'm your host, Ted Michael. I would like to apologize for last week's rerun episode. I have been dealing with a relapse and all the things that go with it, like steroids and MRIs. At the end of last episode, I said I was going to talk about, was going to be reviewing some of the 2017 best games of the year. Well, the lists aren't out yet, so I will be reviewing a genre of games that are hard for me to play because I really don't have a love for sports. Yes, that's right, I will be reviewing sports games. I hope there will be something that you will find interesting to play. The first game I'm going to review is Madden NFL Mobile. It's time to talk about lowering expectations. Madden Mobile can't be a portable version of the console game series. Unlike the $6 Million Man, we do not have the technology. Yet, entertainment artists keeps on trotting out this franchise on your smartphone, and while it's still a long way from being a full-featured Madden game, this year's edition is the best yet. Let's explore why. Season games are the closest you'll get to playing what you would consider a real game of Madden. You're in control on both offense and defense, and entertainment artists downplay the tap controls from last season in favor of a virtual stick and context-sensitive action button. The results isn't great, but it's workable, and still maddening that you have to level up to unlock more of the playbook. But at least you don't have to pay coins to use certain plays. That was a blatant cash grab. Head-to-head play is still something that with opponents takes turns alternating offense drives. Sorry, defensive players. What can do now is to pick specific plays to guard against by scouting what other players like to run. And if they call those plays and your team's defensive awareness is high enough, it'll have the same effect as calling the right play on defense in Tecmo Bowl. In case I'm just dating myself with that reference, two things. One, you need to go play Tecmo Bowl right now, and two, it means the play will likely get blown away. It's not very realistic, but it's better than having no impact on what your team does on defense at all. Games of any kind get you coins, which can be spent on packs of player cards in the store or used to bid on specific cards in the auction house. As an alternative, you can tackle one of the many live events that rotate through the game at regular intervals, playing specific challenges in order to win player cards, trophies, and collectibles. There's a fairly complex system of upgrades that requires you to collect certain combinations of trophies and/or collectibles. Completed sets can be traded in for some pretty sweet rewards. This is fun, possibly one of the better parts of the game. What isn't fun is the live events. that offer a chance at a specific kind of card. I completed a ton of these during my review time and came up empty-handed every time. The graphics in Madden Mobile are perfectly acceptable, though I experienced some weird stadium glitches where the wrong team's colors and logo would sometimes appear during season games. The range of animation is pretty decent, though not what you'd see on a console, and you'll definitely tire of the in-zone celebrations after a while. Notice I got all the way through this without mentioning Madden Cash. That's because you don't really need it unless you just can't wait to upgrade to a full team of gold players, or you're not patient enough to grind things out. Coins seem to be a lot easier to come by this year, so you can get a pretty nice team together for free just by playing regularly for a few days. A better team than that requires some serious dedication, but that's probably as it should be. You might be surprised that Madden Mobile has to offer, especially if you found a previous offering at the series underwhelming. It's still very much incomplete as a football game, but it's better in definitely in nearly every area than its predecessors, and there's something to be said for incremental improvements. If you like football analogies, and it keeps the chains moving towards a day when you can really play Madden on mobile. The next game I'm going to review is NBA 2K17. NBA 2K17 succeeds by touching a spot on the backboard most other sports games can't jump up and reach. Even when it feels too grindy or misses a step, it provides diverse options and singular moments of basketball gameplay bliss that are hard to top. The NBA 2K series as a whole works for me because it's a good overall game. It's a game that celebrates the athletes, taps into the excitement of a big time dunk, and allows me to customize who I want to be on the court. Sometimes I get flustered by a floaty pass or thrown off by a player like Kevin Durant or Andrew Wickens, looking far too skinny, but then I'll hit a deep three with Stephen Curry that makes the fans on at Oracle Arena go ballistic, and I'm all in again. The same concept applies to just about every facet of NBA 2K12. I'm not in love with the grind of my career mode, but the amount of options at my disposal in my GM means I don't care if I spend one more minute in my career. On the court, some small new tweaks let you get an extra boost to the accuracy of your jump shots by pulling straight down on the right stick, but you can also get just press the shoot button if it doesn't feel comfortable. In addition, you can now use the right stick to go for more varied steal attempts, or you can just continue to press the steal button. Again, it's all about options, and NBA 2K17 provides plenty of them. Allen Everett's recent induction into the Basketball Hall of Fame feels all too perfect as NBA 2K17 focuses on chaining together crossover and spins. Seems like a homage to the signature style of its former longtime cover athlete. In previous NBA 2K games, I often felt stuck in the animations and not in control at all times. But now it's much easier to string together dribbling maneuvers and put together a sequence that can leave defenders behind. This same type of flow carries over to shooting, where for the first time it feels like I have the ability to pull up off the dribble and really play in the space between the 3-point line and the paint. This idea of pace and space is all important in a NBA video game. The added area creates some unique opportunities to score that leads to things like more creative passing, more fouls, more scrambling on defense. The loopy passing that crops up where there is especially frustrating because it interrupts some of the chances to really zip the ball around the perimeter to open men and for their open jump shot. The same can be said for some IA players still not quite running the right lanes during a fast break. On some level, though, the passing not always being pinpoint accurate does perhaps save the defense shooters like JJ Redick and Damian Lillard feel especially terrifying this season, and AI is even smart enough to step back and make sure to get both feet behind the line for a three-pointer rather than a long 2-point shot. On top of that, now that rebounds can be tipped out rather than just corralled, I've even seen instances where tips are rebound back towards an open for wide open 3 ball. I also need to mention that the shooting mechanism have been tweaked so all green or perfect releases lead to made baskets. In the past, green didn't always mean the shot would be successful, which could be confusing as there are no clear reason why getting a perfect release mattered. So thank you for clearing that up, 2K. Having this level of control all over the court is great, except when that control then vanishes. I can't control how much heat to put on a pass. I can't control how long it takes players at times to get in position to start a play. And I can't control moments where I'm pushed 10 feet away from the ball handler on defense just because some random big man pushes me backwards under the rim. When things like that happens, there's no recourse, so the outcome can sometimes feel unfair. All of the action on the court is highlighted by commentary that remains the best and most varied in sports genre. David Aldridge is now roaming the sidelines, and Greg Anthony and Kevin Harlan are joined by a rotating crew of new announcers such as Chris Webber, Clark Kellogg, Doris Burke, Brent Barry, and Steve Smith. However, having this amount of variety does come without some flaws. Chris Webber sounds like he's eating his microphone at times, and Steve Smith is sort of boring, but Doris Burke and Brent Barry really shine. The audio is also falters a bit when it comes to the in-arena experience. There was a big focus on making each arena sound unique this season, but adding some unique sounds doesn't cure everything. The rim sounds different in the arena, as well as buzzers, but the ambience is still off overall. The point to one example, I'd be that the crowds simply don't sound excited enough or angry enough, depending on the moment. It's time for another season of retro. The next game we're going to review is RBI Baseball 17. It's time for another season of retro baseball made modern, as RBA Baseball 17 is now on your smartphone for the second year in a row. MLB Advanced Media has gotten the mobile version of RBI out the same day as the console version, with most of the features at a quarter the price. The cover athletes of the 2017 version is Corey Seager, star shortstop of the Dodgers. The user interface has gotten a fresh coat of paint. Other than that, there's not any major new features to the 2017 version at a quick glance. All 30 stadiums and full rosters are regular updates are here though. In case you aren't aware, the RBI Baseball, this is a modern version of the classic RBI Baseball series. MLB Advanced Media has published new versions of the game the last few years. They're preserved the original gameplay where batting and pitching in simplified to an extreme degree, just putting it in 3D. If you never played classic baseball games, the point of this might be lost to you, but if you are nostalgic for old days of baseball video games, check out at least one version of the RBA Baseball rival is recommended. Many fans rip annual sports titles for being nothing more than a roster update. Usually, those acquisitions are a little exaggerated. In case of RBI 17's visuals, such criticism is on point. I don't believe I've ever seen a sports game literally do nothing noticeable to its graphics and animation the way RBI 17 has since RBI 16. It looks almost identical. You would need an astute guide from the developer's office to point out the minute details that have changed since last year's game. That might be acceptable if last year's game was attractive, but it wasn't. The players are still devoid of personality, and the game and the ballparks are just as lifeless. I don't think anybody is expecting this game to look like MBL the show or NBA 2K, but shouldn't there be at least a little bit of improvement from the previous version? I'm not even suggesting more realistic players. How about better looking cartoonish versions of Major Leagues? I could talk about how much better it would be if the player had more distinct look than exaggerate their most noticeable physical trait. But I made these suggestions in my review. Since nothing has changed, I'll just provide more references. There are moments for not plentiful, RBI 17 can be plain dumb fun. However, the moment you think about the segment you just enjoyed, chances are you'll find something that somewhat taints the sequence. For example, I was playing with John Lester of the Chicago Cubs and I had retired about 4 or 5 hitters in a row with a mix hard, slow, and curving pitches. It seemed I was uncovering some strategy and was a mildly rewarding experience. Unfortunately, I made a pitch change and began using Mike Montgomery. Anyone who follows baseball knows Montgomery is a solid pro, but he's not on Lester's level. In RBI 17, he pitches more move just as much, and the velocity is about the same. Thus, there's not really much variance from one player to the next. Fly balls are still insanely hard to judge, and there are times when you don't actually have to touch the ball to catch it. All of these issues are present in RBA 16, so it appears the visual aspect of the game isn't the only thing being neglected. Old school baseball doesn't have to equate to what I call post-apocalyptic presentation, where is the humanity. All we hear during gameplay is nostalgic video game music and the umpire's call. There are more strategic overlays, but it looks as if there's a measure of confusion with this game's production. Going nostalgic doesn't mean giving less effort. Keeps things simple, but packed with personality. So should have been the goal. If what was the mission, it was not accomplished. The next game I'm going to review is WGT Golf. When you hear World Golf Tour, unless you're a fan of golf, your first response would probably be a big fat yawn. World Golf Tour Online, however, is something even non-fans would appreciate. It is both easy to learn and relaxing to play. You start by painlessly setting up your account for free and picking your avatar to represent you on the course. You're then put into the game on your own in a tutorial of sorts, which you can opt out of at any point, where you learn how to putt and in turn put the lessons to practice. By your 18th hole, you're already learned the gist of what to do, and all that's left is fine-tune it. As you play, you'll also learn a factor in other things, such as wind strength and direction, how far your target is versus how far you can potentially hit the ball, and which club you should use. The game sets you up for each shot with the club it recommends, but you can always change it. Using a timed meter at the bottom of the screen, you must time your shot as close to the target spot as you can in order to make the perfect shot. The game is shown in the third person with your avatar front and center. If you want to see the course from a different angle, the choice is limited, but are available. Via pre-designated camera angles, you can choose on the map. There are extra handy for tricky shots where you need to factor in slopes on the green to aim your shot well. You earn experience for each shot you make, which unlocks various supplies and locations available to you. You earn all the more in each medal you earn. Medals can include landing on the green, amongst others, which will cause your first few rounds to be full of earned medals and varying sorts. If you're terrible or simply are taking shots without trying, the game will prompt you to become a better player by offering a link to watch tutorial videos to improve your game. You can replay any course to improve your previous scores. Even tournaments have unlimited play, enabling limitless improvements on your game. There are many types of games to choose from, including close to the hole, blitz, stroke play, match play, and alternate shot. Certain ones in certain maps aren't available until you unlock them with credits. However, there are plenty of other available that will leave you having a good time without having to unlock other courses. You can create a game of others to play with you, join a game yourself, or simply play on your own for fun and or practice. There are even tournaments where the winner can earn credits, new avatars, or clubs, and in some cases, an actual trip for the player to attend in real life. Playing in courses based on real life locations such as Kiwi Island and Bali Holly, this game has a lot of visual appeal. Golfers will be happy to play on these familiar territories. Those who aren't familiar will still appreciate the details applied to a game that is free for anyone to play. You can shop in the virtual store to upgrade your virtual driver, woods, irons, wedges, putters, even golf balls. Presented by actual name brands such as Lynx and Ping, each item has a brief description of its attributes, complete with reviews from online users describing how and why they feel that way they do about them. Once you've decided on what you want, you can purchase your choices using online credits. These credits are only thing that actually pay for in the game, though if you enter tournaments and win, you can earn credits that way and not pay a cent. You can also take surveys or shop online via third parties to earn credits as well. Once you've purchased your virtual equipment, it is yours to keep for the duration of your stay at. If you're not sure of what to get or simply want to test it out, you can rent what you'd like for a 24-hour period before you decide to buy. The online community is very present on this site. Not only can you play online with strangers and friends on various courses, but you can join others in online tournaments with people all over the world. You have access to your very own Facebook-like feel profile page to stay connected, compete with with a friends list, blog videos of replays you save from epic rounds. You've played a summary of your score history and awards, and there is an instant message feature you can enable or disable as you wish. While I'm personally not a fan of golf, I have to admit this was pretty fun to play. Even though you simply click and shoot, there's still a bit of problem solving when you're factoring in hazards, winds, and your avatar's potential stroke distance. I felt accomplished whenever I succeeded landing a difficult shot, and yet I didn't feel strained or stressed while I played. It was simply a relaxing day at the golf course, all from the comfort of my home. When you consider the facts, it's all free. There isn't really anything to complain about. That brings us to the end of another episode of MS Gamers Hut. And as usual, I would like to thank MS&Me Radio for giving me the opportunity to share my passion for games and my listeners, because without you, there would be no MS Gamers Hut. Next week, I will be reviewing mobile card games, things like solitaire and poker. Goodbye, and keep gaming.